What is good, boys? Welcome to a new technical analysis video. Today we're going to go over open, low, high close, open, high, low close, AMD, and the 10 a.m. PO3. Now, most of you guys probably know how to do this. It is good to get a nice little refresh because sometimes the market doesn't present it and sometimes we don't use it for, it can be weeks or months on end. However, it is good to incorporate into your overall trading plan. And yeah, for those of you who don't know what it is, awesome, cool. I'm going to teach you guys something new today. First and foremost, before we get into it, come here. You guys want to say hi to my dog? Come here. Oh, he's getting comfortable in his bed. Never mind. Old ass dude just wants to lay down all day. But anyways, yeah, with that being said, links in the description for everything. Free Discord, money off on your new evaluations, 40% off right now. Code LoeGpa, lose trades. Check it out. Link in the description. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, so first and foremost, let's just get our basic understanding of what the hell we're talking about today, right? So using AMD and open, low, high close, open, high, low close to your advantage in the market, right? So here is our basic overview. Let's just start over here all the way on the left, okay? We have our open, low, high close scenario, which is going to be our bullish scenario. Right, we have a bullish candle here. What do? Well, we open up, right? We have the bottom of the body. We open up, put in the low to the wick, which is going to be the low to the candle, right? We're opening low. Now, what are we doing? We're distributing higher, putting in the high to the wick, and then we're closing with a slight retracement. So on the charts, let's say this, for example, this is like a 1 hour candle. The 1 hour's worth of price action is going to look something like this, right? We're going to open up, we're going to open low, and we're going to start to distribute higher. Awesome, cool. We put in the high to the wick, and now we're starting to retrace this a little bit, putting in the close, and this is what the price action would involve on the lower time frames if this is the hourly candle. Now, all the candles move like this, or you have our other example, which is a open high, low close scenario. And it's literally just the complete opposite, right? What are we doing? So our bearish example, we have our opening price right here. We put in the high to the wick and we start distributing lower. Boom, 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 boom. Awesome. We put in the low to the wick and then we retrace finally right here for the closing price. Okay. So everything moves the exact same. Doesn't matter if you're on the 4 hour, the 15 second, the 30 second, the 15 minute, the 5 minute, doesn't matter. All the candles move exactly the same. And that's why this is so nice to know, because you can apply it to every single time frame. Everything I teach, for the most part, I would say 95% of the confluence of the cheats are fractal, and you can use them on every single time frame. Okay. Now let's just go over our AMD, right? What is AMD? It's just accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Now AMD, I only like to use AMD if we manipulate into a fair value gap, but here is our accumulation zone, right? We have our clear accumulation zone. Now, what do we want to see? If we're leaning bullish on the day, we want to see manipulation lower, okay? And then we can distribute higher. So in this case, this is a bullish example. What do? We manipulate lower into what? Manipulate lower into this bullish value gap. Don't care what time frame it is, as long as it's anything under a 5 minute. So this can be a 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, hourly, 4 hour, daily, whatever the case may be, right? Manipulate down into the fair value gap. And then what do? We start to see a rejection, start to see some distribution out of it. Okay, cool. If we want to enter, where can we find our entry? Somewhere down here with our lower time frame inversion. Let's just say we have a IVG right here. Awesome. Go ahead, enter. This is what our trade idea can look like. Stops at the lows right here. TP either right here to the top of the accumulation zone, or maybe say we have like buy side up here, unfilled for value gap, whatever the case may be, right? Our other take profit can be all the way up here. So that is an example of what exactly a trade would look like. Now, so let's go down here to the 10 a.m. PO3 real quick. Okay, over here we have it on the left. Now, what is our power 3? Well, it's just accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That's all it is. And why the 10 a.m. candle is so important, because it's a new candle for the 1 minute, it's a new candle for the 5 minute, it's a new candle for the 15 minute, it's a new candle for the 30 minute, it's a new candle for the hourly, okay, and it's a new candle for the 4 hour. So that is why it's so significant, because let's say we open high, okay, now we're now putting in the wick to all these different types of candles, and if we open high, we're most likely going to close low. So if we open high, let's say into a bearish PD array, cool, that gives us another confluence that we can go ahead and enter and use to our advantage and look for a distribution lower, right? So what do we have here? Boom. We start accumulating in the macro, which happens sometimes, not all the time, but it happens sometimes, right? We start accumulating during that like 9:45, 9:50-ish area, and we start accumulating towards 10 o'clock, right here. This line right here replicates 10 a.m. open. Awesome. 10 a.m. opens, what do? Well, we immediately open into a fair value gap, a bearish fair value gap. Awesome. So what am I seeing right here? I'm automatically seeing, okay, we have the PO2 right now. We just need the third. We just need the distribution. So now I'm going to start looking for our lower time frame PD arrays and our entry models. Why? Because we have our accumulation zone. We have our manipulation into a PD array, into a bearish PD array. So everything is going aligned so far. Awesome. Now I'm just looking for that lower time frame inversion to catch the distribution move down towards this sell side liquidity down here. So after this manipulation move, and we know it's a valid manipulation move if we get that lower time frame confirmation. And this is exactly where our entry model comes in. Boom. We get our lower time frame entry model with our IFVG. I mean, you can use this to whether you trade CISD, breaker structure, whatever. I trade IVG, so this is how I'm going to use it to my advantage. Awesome. And now we can try to catch that distribution move lower down towards this sell side liquidity, and you can go break even somewhere in this general area where all this accumulations is happening. You can even take TP1 right here or TP2 down here, or you can just go break even, whatever you guys want, however you guys trade. That's exactly how to use it. Now, let's say maybe we don't have a PO3 and there is no accumulation. We're already starting to distribute in a way and we didn't find our entry point, right? So let's say 10 a.m. is about to open again. Remember, 10 a.m. is a brand new candle for the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, all these fucking time frames, right? The 5 minute, the 15, the 30, the hourly, the 4 hour. Cool. So if we're just starting, if we already are bearish, right? And we're starting to see bearish trend pull up, but let's say we didn't find our PDI entry up here. Well, what can we look for? We can just look for a basic continuation model. So what do I want to see? If 10 a.m. is going to open, I would like to see 10 a.m. open high into this 5 or 15 minute gap, a condition. If you guys don't know what a condition is, I have an entire video on that. I'll leave the link in the description when I'm uploading this video. Cool. Now we get a pullback into this 5 or 15 minute for value gap. All I'm looking for now is just a continuation, right? We have our 10 a.m. open high. Awesome. We open high into a bearish gap. We're already bearish on the day. So now I'm looking for just a rejection out of this gap. Let's say we get the rejection. Awesome. Lower time frame IFVG. Go ahead short from here. Where's my shorting thing? My position tool, put your stops at the highs, right? And then whatever targets you have down here, whether it's like, let's say we have like an unfilled gap, cool, or we have like just sell side liquidity, whatever the case may be, and then we can try to go ahead and catch that distribution move lower. And your trade can look something like this. And then here is our bullish example right here, right? We're going to open low. So if we're already bullish on the day, we want to see 10 a.m. open low, put in the wick to the 10 a.m. candle, and then see some form of rejection out of this hourly gap, right? It doesn't have to be a 5 or 15 minute gap. We can use hourly gaps to our advantage as well. Or let's say this is even like a 4 hour for value gap at the exact same area. It doesn't really, oh my God, my dog is going crazy. Doesn't really matter. Right, we manipulated down into something, right? 10 a.m. open low. Okay, awesome. Now I'm looking for the high close. Go ahead, enter off the inversion. Stops at the lows. And then same thing, just the opposite direction. Whatever your take profit is, it can be an unfilled gap, whatever the case may be, right? Unfilled gap, buy side liquidity, whatever. So before we jump into the actual market and I show you guys live examples, just remember you guys can use this on every single time frame whenever you guys want, right? It doesn't have to be exactly at 10 a.m. Let's say 10 a.m. is already distributing, but we start to chop around, okay? And we start to see a lower time frame AMD model occur. Like I said, it goes on every single time frame. You can use it on the 4 hours, right? If the 4 hour is accumulating, we can look for a 4 hour distribution or manipulation and then a distribution. But let's say, right, we're already distributing, okay? And we start to chop around, and this is what it'll look like. Let me just drop an example because this might be a little confusing, right? Start to do something like this. Okay, cool. We have a fair value gap above. Awesome. But let's say we're not instantly getting the reaction we want, like straight into this gap. We're kind of just like stalling a little bit, stalling. Maybe we edge the gap. Maybe we edge the gap. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Now we can play this one of two ways. Let's say we have a PD array beneath us and a PD array above us, okay? Both unfilled fair value gaps. And I like to say this, whatever one we hit first, I'm then going and looking to target the next because I know with accumulation, we're most likely going to manipulate and distribute. It doesn't matter which way. We can already be bearish, but let's say we start accumulating, okay? And then we go ahead and hit a bullish PD array. There, now we have our accumulation, manipulation into a bullish PD array, and now we can look for longs towards that other bearish PD array, okay? Might seem a little confusing, but I promise you I'll show you guys live examples. So let's say for this example, we're just riding the trend, right? We start accumulating, awesome. We manipulate higher. We can then target this unfilled gap down below. We have all these lows, all this LR right here that we can go ahead and target that have yet to be swept out. Awesome, cool. Now let's say, for example, we actually manipulate down, right? We kind of edge this gap right here. Awesome, we leave a sell side right at the edge of this gap. Cool, prominent area of liquidity. Let's say we don't find an entry somewhere in here. Okay, we don't get the continuation down, but we do leave our 5/15 minute for value gap, right? We do leave this right here, and let's just go ahead and say this is a 4 hour gap, right? It can be a 4 hour, it can be any higher time frame period. It can even be a 15 minute if you guys want it to be, right? The market doesn't always give us exactly what it wants, so we kind of have to play with it just a little bit. So let's just, for this example, let's just use it as a 4 hour, okay? Coming down, right? We're clearly bearish on the day, but we start accumulating, okay, accumulate, and then we finally manipulate down into a bullish gap. So even though we're bearish right here, we just hit a higher time frame PD rate. We have a accumulation zone. So, okay, what do I know with accumulation zones? We're most likely probably going to distribute after the manipulation, especially after hitting a higher time frame PD rate. So again, hit the higher time frame PD rate in this example. Let's just go ahead and use this as our IFVG. Awesome. Go ahead and enter off the IFVG. Now in this scenario, since we are going counter trend, I would definitely just take profits right here at like a 1-to-1 inside the gap, or just at the entry point of the gap, whatever the case may be. right? And not trying to target the extendo moves up here, because what would be blocking us from getting those extendo TPs all the way up to, like, let's say this buy side right here? Well, just because we hit the 4-hour gap doesn't mean we're going to get the full distribution move back up, but we are probably going to see some form of retrace. So we most likely just want to take profits right here at this imbalance on this this bearish imbalance, and then just call it a day from right there, right? We just want to take our piece of the pie. So that is another way how you guys can use it to your advantage. With that being said, let's jump right into these live examples. So before even going and looking for an example, it literally just shows up right here, right? Exactly what we were talking about. It's 4:11 right now, West Coast time, so it's probably about 7 o'clock in the Eastern. So you don't want to be trading this anyway, but here's just another example of how it works, right? Just a basic understanding and spotting it on the market. What do we have right here? Just a clear accumulation zone, right? We come down on the 1 minute. What are we doing? We're just fucking chopping sideways. We're not doing anything with price, okay? All of a sudden, what do? Well, we start to see some form of manipulation. How do we know it's a valid manipulation point? Well, because what did we manipulate into? Not only did we come and touch, pause, hey, yo. Not only did we come and touch these fair value gaps on the 5 minute, but what else also is there? Well, there's also this 15-minute fair value gap as well. So cool, we manipulated into a bullish PD array. Awesome. You can see that overall we're pretty bearish on the day, right? But we're starting to trend back up. So now we can use these as our conditions. Even though we're inside of a bearish 5 and 15-minute gap right here, we can use these bullish fair value gaps as our condition. If we run right through them, we can expect, okay, we're probably going to continue lower. But since we have our accumulation and we manipulate it and we got a lower time frame inversion with what? This 5-minute fair value gap right here. Boom. 5-minute IVG. Now, again, this probably isn't the best of times to be entering off this because it's happening like late in the day, right before market opens. Now, this will probably be a loss, not gonna lie, but I mean, it happens, right? Not every setup is gonna play out. Boom. Awesome. Enter off the 5-minute inversion. Cool. Stops at the lows. You probably, yeah, you do end up getting wicked out right here by whatever the fuck this candle is. And then you see price starting to distribute. And like I said, it's 7 o'clock right now in the East Coast, so not the best of price action. But this is basically what you're like trying to look for every single day. We have our accumulation, manipulation down lower, and then we start to distribute. Now we're not fully distributing again because it's in the fucking middle of the night. We're in Asia session. However, if this happens during the daytime, yes, you have the opportunity, or there is a chance you might get wicked out like this due to the volatility. However, 9 times out of 10, it will play out. So I'm just going to start on Monday and we can just go throughout the week, right? I don't know if it fully happened at 10 o'clock any time during this week, but like I said, it's not going to happen every single day. So what do we have? Well, at 9:30, right, the candle's right about to open. What's our bias? Well, we're looking pretty fucking bullish right now, right? We got a pretty deep retracement, started inversing gaps on the way up, and it looks like we're going to go up towards all this high time frame LR right here, all these stacked highs. So I'm like, cool. If I am bullish on the day, I want to see 9:30 manipulate lower, right, into what? Well, we have this 5-minute fair value gap right here with these intermediate lows in it. We have this unfilled 5-minute right here. Awesome. Let's go to 15-minute. Okay, cool. There's a 15-minute gap right here with these 15-minute intermediate lows. Let's just go ahead and mark out those intermediate lows. Is there any? There's a 30-minute gap as well, right? Is there an hourly gap? No, it doesn't look like there's hourly, but there's a 30-minute, 15-minute intermediate lows, 5-minute intermediate lows. Awesome. Cool. Market opens right here. What do I want to see? Well, if I'm bullish on the day, I want to see 9:30 manipulate lower and then continue higher, right? What do we end up getting? What ends up happening right at 9:30? Boom. We end up manipulating lower, doing what? Okay, we took out the sell side right here. As you can see, ES is still up here. So not only do we have a sweep and manipulation lower, but we also have an SMT, right? Further giving us confirmation that we want to go higher, right? So now we're just waiting for that rejection candle. We get that rejection candle. There was a 30-second in here. I didn't end up taking this, but this was an A++ setup, right? Stops either right here, or you can utilize the entire candle, and then your TP can be somewhere up here. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Bang, right? Pretty fucking simple. You can use this at any time. I like to use this more more prominently at the 9:30 candle and the 10 a.m. candle. However, you can use it whenever you like to trade as well, right? If you trade in the middle of the night, cool, it's probably less probable, but you can use it to your advantage as well. So I'm just going to use example number 2, well, technically example 1, right? Because the first one was happening right now. Well, let's just call it example number 2, right? Example number 2, we're just going to go on Monday, and then we'll do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, see if it even played out, okay? So overall, like, you don't only have to use this at 10 o'clock, you can use this as 9:30 as well, right? If 9:30 is pretty fucking bullish, you probably want to see 9:30 manipulate lower, maybe create an SMT, and then distribute higher. And that's actually exactly what we got this day, right? So as you can see, right, on the 5-minute, yeah, we got this pretty big retracement. We inversed a new week opening gap. Okay, cool. Now we're starting to see bullish structure again. We have highs right here, right? We have highs right here. We have all this LR up here. So I'm like, okay, I'm pretty much leaning bullish on the day, right? What do we have? Well, we have this unfilled 5-minute gap right here. And get shut up. We have these 15-minute intermediate lows. What else? Out those 15-minute intermediate lows, we also have a 30-minute unfilled gap. So I'm like, awesome. If I want to continue being bullish on the day, I want to see 9:30 either manipulate lower, okay, or just trend higher, and then we can look for a continuation model. But for this case, I want to see it manipulate lower, put in the low to the 930 wick, and then we can look for a rejection out of it. So what does 930 do? 930 comes along, boom, instantly go lower. Okay, what do we also create? We also create an SMT with the sell side liquidity. We swept out those 15-minute intermediate lows, those 5-minute intermediate lows. We tapped the 30-minute for value gap. Yeah, we missed this 5-minute, but so fucking be it, right? We have an SMT right here. So that's all the confirmation we need. Now what are we looking for? Just our entry model, right? What do we end up getting? We end up getting a rejection right here. Awesome. There was a 30-second in here. I think it closed somewhere right here. You can either utilize this candle or all the way down here towards the SMT, and then you can aim for like a 1-to-1 if you want. Here's a 1-to-1. See, go ahead and see how this plays out. Boom, and it ends up smacking TP. Now let's see if this ended up playing out at 10 o'clock this day as well. I like to be as transparent as possible with you guys, so let's just go ahead and see if it even worked out at 10. Where is 10? 10 a.m. is going to open right here. All right, cool. So boom, what are we doing? We're continuously being bullish on the day. So what do I want to see? I want to see 10 a.m. open low into a fair value gap, and then we can continue higher, right? 5 or 15-minute fair value gap. So do we have any? Yep, we have a 5-minute right here. Cool. I want to see price manipulate into that. Is there a 15-minute anywhere? Let's see if there's a 15-minute. Oh, awesome. There's a 15-minute right where the 5-minute is going to be, right? So if I want to enter longs again, I need to see 10 a.m. open low into this, retrace into this imbalance right here, this bullish imbalance, and then we can continue higher towards all that buy side towards the left of us, right? And the manipulation doesn't exactly have to happen right at 10 o'clock, right? Like I said, if 10 o'clock comes and we start chopping around a little bit, we can wait for the actual manipulation move to happen. So let's just go ahead and see how this plays out, right? As you can see, like right here, it's 10:04 and we're still continuing to chop, right? We haven't seen an actual move yet, so I'm waiting for an actual move. Still nothing, still nothing. Cool, we get our manipulation move lower. But how come this is invalid? So look, here is our accumulation zone. All right, right here we have our accumulation. What do? We manipulate down, but in this sort of scenario right here, we didn't manipulate into anything. Oh my god, you guys understand. Here's our manipulation. Right, we didn't manipulate into anything. What do? We actually created relatively equal lows. So in this case, even though we got this inversion right here, this wouldn't be a valid setup, right? And the reason for that being is we don't want equal lows or unfilled gaps at our stop loss. And in this certain scenario, we have both. Now, I actually think this ended up playing out. I mean, you can aim for another 1-to-1. I do think this ended up playing out. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, I did. We were just super fucking bullish on the day. But like I said, we didn't actually end up tapping into this 15-minute gap. We didn't manipulate into anything significant. We actually created exactly what we don't want to see at our stop loss. So this would be an example of just sitting out. Even though we do have that AMD, right, we kind of want to just sit this one out because we don't want that resting at our stop loss down here. And so again, we move on to the next day, right? Today is now January 27th, Tuesday, January 27th, right? What do I want to see, right? We're clearly fucking bullish. So what do I want to see? Some form of manipulation lower. What can we manipulate lower into? Well, we have this hourly for value gap right here that's unfilled. Awesome. That's going to be a prominent area that I want to see. We also have this discounted hourly down here that I want to see get touched. I'm going to touch you. What else do we also have? Is there a 4-hour anywhere? Yep, looks like there's a 4-hour right here. Okay, cool. So we have a 4-hour gap. We have a 1-hour gap down here, right? Come back to the hourly. Here you can go. I'm coming to the 15-minute. Is there anything on the 15-minute beneath the hourly? Maybe this 15-minute gap right here. We don't necessarily have to touch it since we have a 4-hour and hourly, but it would be nice if we could, right? So what I want to see right here at 9:30 open, right? If I'm leaning bullish on the day, I want to see manipulation lower, and then what do we have higher? We have all these low resistance liquidity, so it looks very, very, very beautiful, right? Okay, let's just go ahead, play it out. Awesome. Immediately displacing lower. Awesome. What did we displace into? Well, the hourly and the 4-hour. Now, you don't have to get FOMO if you see a move like this. Why? Because overall, we're bullish and we see all this high time frame LR up here. So chances are we're probably going to go back to this area. What else do we also have? Well, we also have 5-minute equal highs and now relatively equal highs with this 930 wick. Fucking beautiful. So what do I want to see? Start displacing. Okay. What do we have? We have all this accumulation. Well, really, I mean, I would say the accumulation started like right here, right? Started accumulating. Boom. We got our clear manipulation lower, right? What did we manipulate into? High time frame PD raise. Boom. High time frame PD raise it is. 4-hour, 1-hour. We also hit a couple 15 minutes in here, right? We hit this 15-minute intermediate lows. Awesome. I don't think we quite ended up going in here. Whatever. We also hit a plethora of 5 minutes right here as well. Awesome. Great. Now what am I looking for? I'm looking for an inversion of this 5-minute fair value gap, and I go ahead and enter. Okay, so what do we get? A perfect fucking close right here. Awesome. Beautiful close. Cool. Go ahead, enter. My stops are going to be, maybe like somewhere in this area. If we can't find anything on the 5-minute, I'll like to go down and be like, okay, there should be no reason why price comes and revisits this area, right? We have 1 minute intermediate lows. If we just start displacing through those, we're probably going to get stopped out. So I like it right here under this 1 minute fair value gap. Cool. Where's my take profit going to be? All the way up towards this high right here. And actually on the higher time frames, I think these were relatively highs with over here. So very prominent draw. Okay. This is what it would look like. Trade idea would look like. And I actually took this trade. Let's go ahead and see how it plays out. Straight fucking delivers immediately. Again, what do we have? Accumulation, manipulation, and then we distribute and we find our highest low time frame inversion, right? 1 through 5 minute. I mean, I guess if you had a little bit more discretion, you could have entered like off this 1 minute right here, had the stops at the lows, and your trade idea could have looked something like this. But I just waited for the 5 minute in this case, and yeah, that is what my trade idea looked like. Now let's see if there's anything at 10 o'clock. Let's see what time it is right now. 9:58, 9:58, 9:59. Okay, we're kind of chopping around. Is there anything underneath us, right? Yep, there is. We have this 5 minute right here. So if you would have missed that original trade, cool. We had that 5 minute. We have a 15-minute lower as well. So now we can just look for a solid continuation model and look for a 10 a.m. open low and then a high close, right? And I actually think we ended up getting one this day too. So let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Boom. What does this candle do? 10:05. We open low. Okay, so it's a 10:05 candle, right? Manipulation happens right here. Again, we have a lower time frame AMD model happening. Here's on the 1 minute. Boom, accumulation. We get clear manipulation lower down into what? Down into a 5 minute gap right here. This was a 5 minute. The 15 minute ended up getting created later on. Boom, 5 minute. We get the inversion. I think this was a 2 minute IFEG. And I do think price ended up actually chopping around after this, but this is what we look for on a day-to-day basis. So obviously, let's just get this out of here because you guys understand the accumulation. So boom, we get our entry point right here. Have something like this, and then your stops can be like right here, and then whatever. You can target a 1-to-1. Now, I don't necessarily like this because we already took out the draw for the day, right? We already took out those higher time frame relatively highs. But if you guys just want a pattern trade, I mean, I don't recommend it, but completely fine as well, right? Sometimes it works out, most of the time, most of the time it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I believe this time it does. It took a little long to deliver. I don't know if we ended up getting it. Kind of edged TP by a tick. But yeah, I mean, as you can see right here, right, we had accumulation, manipulation, and we started to distribute. It took a little long to go back up, but I mean, overall, it's the same thing, right? So with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for this open low high close, open high low close, AMD, PO3, whatever the fuck you want to call this video. That's going to wrap it up, okay? I hope you guys learned something, take something away from this. Please leave a comment if you guys have any questions, okay? I look at everything. Free Discord, link in the description. Like I said, if you want to up your allocation, go LoeGpa, lose trades, link in the description for that as well, 40% off. Check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a sub if you guys want. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.